and just see what the public thinks about that. And then ultimately, if that's successful, that'll roll to the city to be approved at some point in the future. So again, that's what we got going on this week. I know that's a bunch, but again, there's 13 items on that agenda. You guys may want to watch it. We'll be live streaming that. We'll start at 5:30 in this room.
Judge, can I ask one question?
Yes, Mr. County Attorney, sir.
On that latter issue, our County Attorney Association Board is looking at a form ordinance or form ordinances and such, and zoning and otherwise. What are you all relying upon for that? Is it just? I
created it ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it ourselves. So we took the KRS 218B, I think is what it is, and we broke out the definition straight out of the statute, and we're rolling them into our ordinance. That's the best way to understand the difference of the 5 components. And then we basically created a handful of what we'll call specific use standards, setbacks from residential, landscape requirements, but then we just laid out what zones they could go in. And they're pretty cookie cutter in nature.
I'd like to see a copy of
I can get that to you. I'll email it to you. Yeah.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Mr. County Attorney.
I have something to ask.
Squire Brown, you recognize.
When you first started out about you said the south end, what do you mean by that? That city councils.
So the city about a year ago, or no, probably a little longer, right after I got here, there's a downtown business development group which I serve on, and their focus is to look at opportunities for downtown, and that group requested that the city fund a traffic study for the south side of Versailles to look at traffic situations. What it spun off of was when we did the zone change on Falling Springs next to Dina and that area. The developer basically came back and said, well, we're going to build 237 homes, but we won't make a traffic impact.
Okay.
2 city council members thought, well, it'd be good if we did a traffic study so that when the developer says we're making no impact, we have some real data to say, well, here's what we think will occur when you build the next 200 homes or whatnot. So they did a study of all the vacant property on the south side of town to the parkway, and the traffic engineer programmed out what the uses could be, mostly residential, but there could be commercial, and figured out if you build all that stuff, what will we have to do to Troy Pike, Falling Springs, Tyrone, what improvements Old Dry Ridge have to go in place to accommodate all this new growth. And it actually is proposing 2 roundabouts, a widening from the Parkway to Legends to a 5-lane road configuration. So all that's in this traffic study. If everything gets built out, you got to have all these pieces to basically accommodate the traffic flow. And so that study's done, and we're just going to present it to the Planning Commission.
Thank you, Steve. And Steve provided us a document about some of the permits that could be pulled, that information. I've copied that. I'll distribute it to the court. I think Emily has it in my office, but that'll give you an idea of some of the stuff we've been talking about in the last 2 meetings. But thank you for the update, Steve.
If you have any questions, or you guys good with that? Tune in Thursday, 5:30. Facebook.
Thank you.
Judge.
Thank you. All right, we will adjourn this meeting of the Woodford County Fiscal Court's Budget and Finance Committee. And if everyone would stay put, we will reconvene for the budget hearing, public hearing, regarding the proposed use of county road aid and local government economic assistance, commonly known as LGEA funds. This is a public hearing required by statute, and I'll read the information for the record, that it will be held at the Woodford County Courthouse, 103 South Main Street, 2nd floor courtroom, today, April 9th, 2024 at 5 p.m. for the purpose of obtaining any citizen comments regarding possible uses of county road aids and local government economic assistance funds. We have submitted proper notice for this required budget public hearing. And one thing that our treasurer has noted is that what we will do, in addition to what we've done in the past, which is simply welcome public input on any of our LGEA or county road aid expenditures, we will have the road department talk about the proposed use of county road aid in this public hearing, just for the record. So, Madam Operations Supervisor, Mr. Road Supervisor, if you all wanted to talk about the proposed use of county road aid for the purposes of this public hearing, we would appreciate that.
You all should have a memo that indicates what roads we're wanting to use county road aid on for the upcoming fiscal year. It's Davistown Road, the entire road. It's Head and Road, a portion that the road supervisor has indicated on the roadway whenever we get to that point. 4 acre, the entire length. Scotts Ferry and Scotts Ferry East, we've got some patching that needs to be done on both of those roads. Paynes Depot, that little bit is going to hopefully finish out Paynes Depot. And then Schrocks Ferry would be from Greer's Creek to the end by the bridge, or past the bridge. And those are the roads that we would like to be able to resurface. We don't know the cost, but we've calculated it at $120 a ton. Hopefully we'll get it for less. That would save us a lot of money if we did.
We're hoping that's on the high side.
We're hoping that's on the high side. Yes, we are.
What we can gather, it is. We just hope it stays that way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, again, normally in the past, we would simply just seek public comment, but our treasurer, our new treasurer, has recommended that we implement a portion where we actually discuss what recommendations that we are taking and what specific county road aid uses that we are proposing. And so those are the proposed county road aid funds, which the fiscal court will also take up, but is recommended by the Woodford County Road Department. And then also, as far as the my understanding is that the recommendation will be to expend the remaining LGEA funds, and you want to discuss about what
I'm
that.
going to let Bo talk about that because I didn't get that quite right based on what I was told by.
Oh, okay. Well, this is first I'd heard of the welder.
Yes.
You know, and I didn't know anything about this, but we have talked about what adding to our existing welder an attachment to weld aluminum. And I think it got misinterpreted in the shop and got back, but what we're wanting to do is just to buy an add-on. That I'm sure you're familiar with a spool that welds aluminum, but you use a metal welder. And its attachment goes in between the welder and the spool. And you can weld aluminum with it. And it saves you from having to buy a TIG welder that's made especially for aluminum. And this will help a lot in the ambulance department, because that's where we use most of our aluminum welding. And cost-wise, I don't know. You know, I've got one at home that I use on welding for the public, but you know, it was about $1,400 in. And that's been a few years ago. But it's not what it seems. It's not a complete welder. It's an attachment for a welder.
And it was described to me as
Yes,
a welder.
yes.
And I know nothing about welding,
Yeah.
so there's
Yeah,
that.
but it's a lot cheaper than buying the TIG, but and do the same thing.
Well, and right now, anything that is aluminum, we have to send it out. And that's, you know, additional downtime for an ambulance that
Yes.
we really, and it's expensive.
Yeah, and I've welded a lot of aluminum, and I will teach my guys in the shop how to use a welder, spool welder on aluminum, and then they can have at it and I do other things. You know.
Judge,
Squire Taylor, you recognize.
considering that distinction, do we still think we'll expend all of those remaining funds?
I don't think that will.
I mean, I don't know what the cost of it is because I was
No.
basing it on a brand new welder.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was gonna be more than $10,000.
I'm gonna just estimate somewhere around 3,000 for a good Hobart attachment for our welder.
Well, I appreciate your all's work. One, I'm saving the money as well, but also I know it takes some thought to make sure that we're checking all the boxes when we expend these funds. So I appreciate you all thinking, not necessarily out of the box, but maybe about a box of an ambulance to serve and how you, and I know you all come up with some ways to spend the remaining.
We're not gonna get any more of this particular fund.
That's what I
so we've
remember,
got-
yeah.
We need to spend it. We'll find something else to spend it
Yeah.
on.
Yes.
And we'll just come back and ask for the rest of
That's-
it. And that's fine.
Thank you all.
Just for the record, the remaining amount of LGEA funds, which we do not anticipate receiving more, is $11,950, according to the budget.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay. I had 6,900, but that was what I had calculated. Okay, we'll get the right amount.
Yeah, we'll get the,
And then whatever is gonna be left, we'll include that in the budget. I just took it out completely on the budget, and you'll see that when you look at your copy.
I see you've got that reserve for transfer in there as well. Yeah, okay, and then the county road aid funding is $721,390.09.
I believe, is that the correct amount?
The county road aid amount for this year needs to be calculated exact for the amount it was last year.
Okay.
Yes.
So that, they hadn't gotten any final numbers because of the budget.
Right.
The state budget, so they said that we need to calculate this year's budget amount.
The same, which I think that's what I put in there.
Yes.
Because I think you and I talked about that.
All right, thank you all. We appreciate that presentation. Something different that we haven't done in the CRA and LGEA fund public hearing before, but we're doing this time. So I would open up the floor for any public input or discussion regarding CRA and LGEA funds. Any member of the public wishing to seek to give input regarding the possible uses of county road aid and local government economic assistance funds are welcome to address the court. All interested persons are invited to also submit verbal or written comments on possible uses of these funds. If you cannot attend this hearing but wish to submit comments, you should submit your written comments via email to info@woodfordcountyky.gov. You're also welcome to email your magistrate. You can always mail the fiscal court at 103 South Main. You can call my office, 859-873-4139. And even though the public hearing is closed as of the time of this notice, we welcome public comment on any of the uses of any of our funds at any time. So I will ask for a second call for any public comments regarding the LGEA CRA funds. Seeing no member of the public wishing to be recognized, I'll have a third and final call for same. Also seeing none, we will adjourn this public notice budget hearing, and we will return in full fiscal court in a matter of at 5:30 in a matter of about 17 minutes. Thank you all. We are adjourned.